I'm very deeply personally inspired by Winston Churchill. I think his leadership in times of crisis is some of the best that history has ever seen. I recently finished a biography of him, which I will talk about in another video, as well as the Gary Oldman movie from 2017, Darkest Hour, which detailed how he dealt with those who wanted to immediately offer to make peace with the Germans when it looked like the British Army was going to be completely destroyed on the beaches of Dunkirk. And while that period of history is very interesting and there's a lot of media about it, I wanted to take some time today to talk about the Dardanelles campaign and the Gallipoli invasion, which is something that Winston Churchill led during the First World War. It was a abject failure, and I think that it shaped who he was in the Second World War, so it's worth thinking about and discussing. You might have no clue what this even is, so let me talk to you a little bit about it. Basically, there was the front with all of the trenches that you think about when you think about the First World War. You think about trench warfare, you think about people being constantly in water with bodies, you think about all the people dying of illness, and you think of the horrendous stalemates that were infrequently punctuated with futile runs between trenches, during which machine guns would mow down waves of soldiers. And the Allied forces were looking at this problem and saying, well, maybe if we opened up another front, since the Ottoman Empire had entered the conflict, and since they were attacking the Russians, who were aligned with the Allies, maybe we could draw some of those troops away from the trenches and possibly break the stalemate that way. And so Winston Churchill was the head of the Admiralty at the time, which means he had the highest position one could have in Britain's Navy, and he proposed that they try to sail through the Dardanelles, which is on screen right now. It is what separates the Mediterranean from Sea of Marmara, which then has Istanbul, and basically what that would allow them to do is open up supply lines with the Russians, and it would draw a lot of troops. Now, this attack went very poorly for a number of reasons. One was the minesweepers, which were supposed to clear the strait, did an inadequate job. And two was there was artillery and guns that were lined up along the strait that they were not able to clear. So when they sent in the ships, they were hit by a combination of those two factors. 3 of them sank, 3 of them were critically disabled, which meant that naval attack was no longer an option. So the British Expeditionary Force landed tens of thousands of troops on the beaches and sustained 250,000 casualties, with 46,000 Allied troops ending up dying in the campaign. The result of this was that Winston Churchill took the fall, and what part of this was his poor planning and what part of it was poor execution on the part of his commanders is it's up to interpretation. Obviously, if you're the highest level of the military organization, you are responsible in the end for what your commanders do, regardless of whether they perform poorly or not. Was it a bad idea? Well, it certainly looked like it after, and it tanked his political career, and it really ruined his reputation. This is part of why he suffered what he did over the interwar years. This is something that historians frequently refer to as the wilderness period. He was without political party. He was damn near broke. He had no influence, and that is when he got loud about the threat of the Nazis. So, there you go. You know about a famous failure of Winston Churchill that you probably didn't know about before, and maybe you even know about a giant battle in the First World War that cost the lives of 46,000 Allied troops that there's a good chance you didn't know about. As I've already stated, am a little bit obsessed with Winston Churchill, so I'm sure that there'll be more videos on him to come. If you're interested in that sort of thing, drop a comment, leave a like, let me know, and I'll be sure to make more of those videos soon.